My name is Katherine Helen Fisher. I am a dancer, choreographer, director, filmmaker, new media examiner. The concept of characters, I think there's definitely a feminist consciousness there, but not, I feel like it's a gentle, body positive kind of like trying to be vulnerable and also to let other people know that it's okay to appreciate yourself and to be comfortable with yourself. I've worked collaboratively with visual artists a lot before and had a great experience doing that. And so when I heard that there was a possibility to work with a scientist or a designer, I was just really stoked about that idea.
My name is Clint Zeagler. I am the program manager for the Wearable Computing Center here at Georgia Tech, and I'm also a research scientist for the Interactive Media Technology Center. I'm lucky that the Institute for People and Technology and the GBU Center have this engagement grant program.
I had been introduced virtually to Madison Cario, who's the director of the Office of the Arts here at Georgia Tech. And she was like, wow, what are you doing? And then we started talking about a possible commission.
2 years ago, I worked with an Italian musician, Ro, to create a wearable musical instrument, which we had a performance in Tech Square. And now, through the engagement program, I've been able to work with Katherine Helen Fisher on a wearable garment for performance during this larger piece that Madison Cario has commissioned with the Office of the Arts.
Épaule, 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 algorithme, algorithme, algorithme. Algorithme, épaule, épaule. Touche d'amour, touche d'amour, touche d'amour, épaule.
I had met with Clint and his team early on, and they didn't really bite. They were kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
With Katherine, we talked a little bit about the overall show, but for the first time, it was a project that we were really free to do whatever we wanted.
And then finally I had a meeting with Clint and he was like, I don't understand what you want me to make. Like, tell me exactly what you want me to make. And I said, I want you to make what you dream of making in your head. That's the most wild, fantastical thing. I will dance it. Anything you make me, I will stage and make work on stage and explore.
I was really inspired by like Fraggle Rock and like just the fun, like kind of jaunting, jumping, crazy type of stuff.
The wearable tech in the show, we titled, actually Clint came up with it, the title La Monstré. And I love that when your collaborator brings you something and you're like, oh my God, yes, we have to call her La Monstré. And she has a very strange hat that she wears, and she's just this fantastical kind of character.
It really was the freedom that allowed this like crazy, I was like, I want to make something tacky and colorful and crazy. And Katherine was on board with that, so that's where we went with it.
I loved working with the technologists. They have a calmness and scientificness to them that I feel like I don't get in the arts. And I loved seeing how they worked strategically through their problems, just line by line, like let's take this line of code apart, let's take this line of code apart.
We were on the phone for 4 hours and just methodically, like through scientific method, just checked off one thing at a time until finally we got to like what was causing the problem.
And I think that's why these types of collaborations are so incredibly valuable, because they get us outside of our own training. So when we start thinking in a different way, all sorts of new possibilities open up. And I think that that's a really exciting thing about our country right now, that there is advertising that is good, and the branding that's happening right now is not so in your face. I mean, there are all sorts of companies that are giving money for artists to make content that isn't necessarily branded, like Red Bull and Vimeo, and content really is king right now with the internet. So I think it's an exciting time. I think it's really important that we all acknowledge that we are artists. I mean, there is no distinction between scientists and artists or regular person and artists. The creative impulse is human. It's what makes us human.